joining us today. We're excited to bring you an industry professional straight out of Nashville. I cannot wait to learn more. So let's go ahead and get started. Chuck, thank you for being with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So would you mind taking just a few minutes to tell us who you are, what you do, and where you're from?
Sure. I'm basically from Nashville. I've been here since I was in middle school, so I consider myself a resident. I spent about 30 years in the music industry, working in country primarily until here in the past 3 years. Mostly tour management. I worked with Tracy Lawrence, Martina McBride, Ricochet. 3 years ago, I moved over to the rock side, and now I'm the tour manager, tour accountant for the band Three Doors Down.
Oh my goodness, I love three doors down. I mean, that sounds like an incredible job. I'm super jealous.
Great bunch of guys.
Yeah. So would you mind telling us a little bit about your professional journey? How did you get to where you are? Maybe start with from high school. What does it look like until today for you?
In high school, I don't really think I had an idea what I wanted to do. I think most people are in that phase. After high school, I went into the military. I was a Ranger, airborne, stationed at Fort Bragg, got out and worked in radio a little bit. I worked for Y107, the local station in Nashville, for a little bit, did some internship there. And then I really just didn't find a passion there. I loved music, but it's not what I wanted to do. So my roommate at the time owned a stagehand company that provides all the labor for concerts. So I started doing some of that, and I ended up out at the Geo Celebrity Theater at the old Opryland Theme Park. And I worked that, got my first touring gig with Doug Stone, worked with him for 5 years. And then Martina and I landed with Tracy Lawrence, and I think I worked with him for about 20 years before moving on to Three Doors Down.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned your journey, because so many times high school students don't know what they want to do after they graduate. And that's okay. Sometimes it takes a while to find your passion.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I love that you shared that with us. Would you talk to us a little bit about what your daily activities look like as a tour manager? I'm sure it's different every single day, but on an average day, what are the duties and responsibilities of a tour manager?
Well, we all have our routine that we go through, but like you said, and I had a feeling you were going to ask that. There is no common average day as a tour manager. I mean, there's too many variables. Granted, everybody that's climbing off the buses in our entourage, we're familiar with all them, but every day we're stepping into new promoters, new security, new hospitality, new travel, all that stuff. So it's like a different gig every day. But I mean, you get in, you get settled in, you meet everybody, you assign dressing rooms, you just get your normal day, you get the band situated. My guys like to go to the gym. The lead singer, Brad, he will roam off by himself. He'll hop in an Uber and call me from a museum or a state park and say, hey, call me if you need me. So my guys are really low maintenance, which is awesome. And then we just get on with the day. I mean, you got so much to do in a day, but as long as you have a good support team, you're good. You have to keep count of tickets all day long. You get different reports all day. Of course, your crew is setting up. So for a tour manager, I'm making sure the guys are fed. I'm making sure my drivers are getting to the hotel. Making sure my band is situated. Any runs we need are scheduled with the transportation department, and mainly just kind of, working back and forth with the promoter rep.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's a lot of logistics involved. What would you say has been your go-to for staying organized? I'm sure everyone probably has their own organizational strategy, but sounds like there's a lot you have to keep up with.
There is, and there's two very important tools. Master Tour, which is a program that a lot of touring agencies use. It's probably the best as far as keeping everybody updated. Back in the day, they used to do these tour books. Everybody would get a tour book, and then you'd have to write down any changes in the day. Well, technology changed that. We have Master Tour. Master Tour allows you to change the sound check time, and it shoots it to everybody automatically, instantly. So if you add dates, remove dates, Master Tour is your go-to. Also, Excel. I'm a very big Excel guy. It's the best way to do all your reports. And you got to turn in payroll. You got to balance all the stuff on the road as far as your road floats. Excel is brilliant.
So it sounds like you not only take care of the people that are in your entourage, but you also have to take care of the budget and the
Yeah.
finances.
Yeah, you're responsible for the money out there. So, I mean, most tour managers are also tour accountants, unless the tour actually carries a separate accountant, which most mid-size and larger don't. I mean, the really big ones will, like Adele, she probably has a tour accountant, but usually the tour manager is a tour accountant as well.
Okay, that's interesting. Something I did not know I was aware of.
Yep.
So technology is awesome. You mentioned Excel. You mentioned this new app. Um, is there any other technology that maybe someone that's interested in this industry should be aware of, or that could go ahead and begin using?
No, those are the two main things, and you're going to want to know them well.
Yeah.
I mean, have your basic math skills, your most vital piece of equipment. Always have your cell phone. Um, no, there's really not. I mean, it's an organization thing. You have to have mad organizational skills.
Yes.
You have to be versatile because every day is different. Don't look at it as going into a job where each day is going to be somewhat the same. It's really not. I mean, the venue's different. It's not like walking into an office. The people are different. You got your back with your guys, but everything else is different. So be
Yeah.
versatile.
So you mentioned different areas earlier. You talked about hospitality and stage management and sound check and those different things. Are there people assigned to those roles that is their career?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have your stage managers, your LDs. There are so many intricate parts to national touring that I never even knew about. Prior to actually being in the business, I didn't know what an LD was. That's a lighting director, designer, runs all the lights. You just kind of went to a concert, you saw it, and it was like, cool, okay. Never thought about that. So many techs that take to set all that up, a lot of them that actually tour with the band. You got your video guys, you've got your camera operators. Some of those tour with the band, depending on some of its local crew. You got your sound guys, you got the guys that fly the PA. I mean, our entourage is probably about 30 people. And they all have their own job. Like I have a VIP coordinator who takes care of the guest list, who does when we do our meet and greet, she'll take care of the VIPs. There are so many people involved. We have people that take care of the dressing rooms backstage. A lot comes with us, but each one of those people is, of course, dealing with a new person each day. They come in, they're dealing with the venue person. They're dealing with the limitations of that venue. I mean, we can go anywhere from sheds, amphitheaters, arenas, all the way down to a large state fair, and when those days are a little harder, when your dressing room is this little RV that's out in the mud, it's a little more difficult day.
I'm so glad that you mentioned the different roles and responsibilities that tour with you guys, because that's one of my favorite questions that I love to ask industry professionals is what career paths have you discovered along the way? Because for me, when I was in high school, I had no idea that so many opportunities were available. Like you mentioned, You go to a concert and just think it happens.
Yeah, people walk backstage and they're amazed at all it actually entails in putting on a show. So it's not just setting up that set and have the band come out and do their thing. It's a full day, and our days are about 18 hours. I mean, we have long days to make that happen for that hour and a half, 2 hour concert that the people get to enjoy.
So you mentioned you kind of took us through your professional journey, but just like everyone else, I'm sure that you've had obstacles along the way that you've had to overcome. Would you mind speaking a little bit about any obstacles you faced, how you've overcame those, and what advice you have for students that will ultimately face their own obstacles in the future?
You will, I mean, the entertainment business is always growing, and there's artists coming and going, and there are a lot of people that have found out that they want to be in the entertainment business. Mm-hmm. And some people aren't meant to be on stage. They're not performers, but there are so many positions backstage, but there are so many more people wanting those positions. So you have to be really good at what you do, and you have to network and build relationships. A lot of the work that I've done is based on those relationships. I love meeting the people around the country. A lot of the promoters at a lot of the venues have become personal friends, and you just keep those relationships strong. You don't roll in and roll out and forget that guy, because you're going to see him again, hopefully.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned relationships. I think networking is probably the number one skill needed for any career path.
Absolutely.
Do you have any specific strategies that you use for networking?
Oh, I clown around with everybody. I mean, I mean, the way I look at it, April, is our job is fun. We get to do what we do for a living. We don't go into an office building. We don't, I don't know, we're not mechanics or work in a warehouse. We get the privilege to entertain thousands of people every night, to climb off those buses. We are privileged we are blessed to do what we do. And there's a lot of people that want those jobs. But you have to be very good at what you do and very organized and have fun with it. You got to have fun with it.
Absolutely.
It's a concert. You got to have fun. So.
Yeah. It sounds like you certainly enjoy your job for sure. And when you enjoy what you do, it's not a job, right?
Exactly. I mean, you see 60,000 people out in the crowd now. All that front row is like looking at the people, even on the side of the stage, not just the band. They're like, man, I want to be up there. Man, I want to be up there. Even though you can't hear anything up there. That's why we all wear earbuds. But they just want to be a part of that, and it's kind of a cool position to be in. And with people kind of envying that you're the guys that get to be up on the stage with the band and get on and off the buses, and it's all cool. It is still a job, so you have to take it seriously. But man, there's so many perks to it, and we have such a good time. It's like a band of brothers on the road, and sisters. Excuse me. We have some females out there as well, and so ladies, there are gigs open to you as well. There are females. Used to be back in the day, not so much. Now, oh yeah, there's lots of ladies on the road. So don't feel like that's going to short you in any way, because it's not.
Yeah.
Ladies on the road that are amazing workers. They're great at what they do, and then they're just like family, like everybody else. So.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, that's so great to mention that there is a role out there for everyone. And whether you're interested in music or maybe you're more interested in the sports side, there are people to fill the different positions to make these big events happen.
Absolutely. It takes a lot more people than you think.
Yes.
And that's just on tour. I mean, a lot of the work that I do, advancing and stuff, I probably do 80% of my work at home or in my office. It's advancing, it's phone calls, it's emails. It's organizing everything. My job when we're touring is actually just to make sure that everything I advanced is what it was. It's what we talked about. And of course, to settle the show, take care of the money, and make sure everything goes off successfully. And we leave and the promoters are happy and my guys are happy, and it's been a good day.
Yeah. So what is something that you wish you would have learned at a younger age? Just thinking about your professional career as a whole, what's something you think would have helped you had you known?
Okay. Everybody in this classroom, stop what you're doing and listen to this. Invest now. Robinhood. On your phone, invest now.
I love that. It's never too early to start saving, start investing, because you'll look back one day and wish you would have started it sooner.
Exactly. And in this business is not like your 9 to 5. It's almost seasonal. I mean, we have the winters off most time. So you have to be financially savvy. You have to be smart with your money, especially with COVID right now. I know a lot of my friends and a lot of people in the industry are hurting really bad. And it's not just because they weren't financially set. I mean, a lot of people have lost a lot. But this business is not like a normal job. It doesn't pay like a normal job. It doesn't have benefits like a normal job. A lot of that falls on your own responsibility. And that's something you have to realize going into it, that you need to have the maturity and the responsibility to take care of yourself. You can make good money. Don't get me wrong. You can absolutely make great money, but you have to use it wisely.
Yes, that is great advice. So another piece of advice, what would you say if we had students that are interested in maybe going into this industry, maybe becoming a tour manager or some other role on tour? What is some actionable advice that students can do right now while they're still in high school to help prepare them for that kind of future?
Well, depending on where you live, if you're in a small town somewhere, get with like the local theater, start learning the trade and networking and building relationships with those people. Not everybody is privileged to live in Nashville where music is everywhere. So it really depends on where you're at, but But the relationships that you build in this business can carry you through your entire career. So if you're in a small town somewhere and you have a theater group, go learn lights, go learn sound, go, learn what it is to be a runner in a transportation department, security, take tickets. It doesn't matter. Just start building that. And then when you're ready and you're serious about wanting to be in this business, move to an LA, move to a Nashville, move to a place where, you can pursue that dream, because you can do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And, sometimes when you mentioned getting with your local theater or different studios, sometimes you have to volunteer, right? You don't always start out getting paid.
Oh, absolutely. Because the people they're paying are the people that know what they're doing, and they've already been where you are. They've already learned a little bit to be in those shoes. So sometimes, you got to learn to step in a little bit and just volunteer to be a runner for the day, where you're just going to drive a van, drive the band back and forth, or go pick up the rider, or whatever you do that day. You can be just a backstage assistant that restocks the dressing rooms. There's a lot of things you can do, but when you do it, network, meet the people. Don't be that quiet guy that kind of slides in, kind of slides out. You've got to meet people. You need to be an outgoing individual. You need to have fun with it.
Yes. Take advantage of every opportunity that you're given. When
Absolutely.
you do get to be in that room, make sure that you meet the people in that room.
Yeah. Because most of them, most of the guys on the road, you got some guys that are really stressed, have hard days, like production managers usually. They're usually pretty, in and out and short and direct. But most of the people on the road, man, they're just happy to meet people. That's what I love about my band and the artists I've worked with in the past. They genuinely love people. They're not the kind that are like, oh, okay, let me have 20 security around me so nobody approaches me. Brad loves to talk to everybody. Go out of his way to talk to people. So, and I love artists like that. So, if you're working backstage, obviously we have a term called germing. You don't want to be a germ, but in the same time, do your job, be polite, be friendly, and say hi. Don't be intimidated or shy. Just come on and say hi.
Yeah. And you only get one chance to make a first impression. So you want to make sure you work hard and leave that good impression when you go to the next job.
Yep. And if you have that backstage satin or something on, then you've been given the privilege. You've been trusted to be back there to do a specific job. Doesn't mean you're limited. You can have fun with it. You can meet people. I've met so many people around the world that I still keep in touch with, and I love my relationships with her. They're awesome people. And that's one of the benefits of this job. It's not just the travel, because to be honest, we don't see as much as everybody thinks we see. We see hotels, we see catering, we see truck stops, we see the backstage. I've driven past the Grand Canyon probably 1,000,000 times. I've seen it twice.
I'm so glad that you made that point, because it's not always what it seems. So
no, it's not. It's work. We're driving across the country. In the middle of the night.
Yes.
We wake up, we're at a hotel or a venue, and that's what we're spending the day doing. So, there are days off when we get to see what's around, and I've done some cool stuff. Anytime we go overseas, Europe, Australia, anything like that, we usually take a couple extra days over there to kind of go see some cool stuff. Yeah. But as the most part on the regular tour, you're not seeing much. So, like I said, it does have its perks, but it is also a job. That's what we do.
Well, we have a few questions from students that were submitted. The first question is, do you get to enjoy the concert, or are you working during that time?
Now, in my role, I pretty much get to enjoy the concert. I wear the earbuds just like everybody else, like the band wears, basically because our stage is pretty silent. If you didn't have them in, all you would hear was drums. So I get to hang out, make sure that, if Brad's having any problems or any of the band are here having any problems, that I can hear the same thing they're hearing and communicate with the sound guys. But for the most part, on a smooth night, I'm just kicking back watching.
Yeah.
I escort them on, escort them off, that kind of thing.
So I assume that probably answers the next question that we have here is, do you attend every single concert?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There will be a rare occasion where I'll step away if I need to go ahead and settle the show out. Mm-hmm. Shows either are flat rate or there's maybe a back end deal negotiated. So sometimes I'll go ahead and settle out. But most time I'm there just in case anything happens.
Yeah. Could you speak a little bit about how the settlement works? Like, when we think about going to a concert, we're just going to a concert to enjoy, but how does that concert actually get there? And then how does everyone get paid? Like, how does that process work? And I'm sure it's different for different artists and different venues.
It is. Well, as far as the artist pay, I mean, that's negotiated in the contract between the booking agent. And in some situations, when I was with Tracy Lawrence, I was the guy who negotiated the contracts. I was the actual guy that routed everything, negotiated the pay, negotiated the contracts. We have a management company, Red Light Management, that does that for Three Doors. So basically, they negotiate the deal, whether it be a flat rate, say, let's just $100,000, and whether it's $100,000 plus, a guaranteed back end, which could be a percentage of the ticket sales, stuff like that. That's all negotiated in the front. And then I have to settle that. So, I mean, you go through, you're counting all the tickets, seeing what the box office numbers are, and you kind of get a box office report throughout the day. I like to get one about 3 times during the day just to see how tickets are progressing that day. Prior to that, the actual booking agent will keep track of that stuff. You'll get a report from them saying, okay, day 15, we've sold this many tickets all the way up till day of show. And then you go settle. And that's kind of a long process that I can't really go into here because we'd be here an extra half hour. Again, Excel spreadsheets, the best thing for show settlement.
Making sure you balance your numbers, I guess, would be a good explanation.
Yes, because you carry a road float, you are responsible for all the band's money. If that back end is figured up wrong, then you can cost the band a lot of money. And that's something you don't want to do. You are responsible for the money out there. And you have a lot of people over your head looking at you saying, did you get every dime you were supposed to get? Yeah, I got it.
Make sure it's right. So the next question that we have submitted is, and I think you touched on this a little bit already, but do you get to hang out with the bands and do you get to know them?
Absolutely. Brad is actually one of my closest friends. We actually, in this time off, have spent a lot of time kayaking together. I've known him for about 15 years prior to working with Three Doors. I actually met him through Tracy Lawrence because they did a duet together years ago. And Brad and I just clicked. We just became friends. So when I left Tracy, Brad's tour manager had evidently left him that same week. And I was getting into management. I was starting to develop into young artists and working with artists. And I texted him and I was like, hey, dude, I just threw my resume at your management company. Give me a thumbs up. He calls me. He's like, dude, Gary just quit. I need you now. So it was just like a God thing. It just fit. So I started working with him and we have a kind of a relationship, and we've agreed that our friendship is our friendship and our working relationship is our working relationship.
That's awesome.
Separate, we're good. The rest of the band I got to know over the past couple of years. Great guys, love every one of them. And it's a brotherhood. I ride with the band. It's the band and I on one bus, and then the crew and the other guys all ride on the other buses. So
yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm very close with the guys.
Yeah. So the next question, and this is our last question that we have submitted, but what type of person would excel at being a tour manager? So maybe what type of personality or skill set would be
OCD. A very organized, detailed OCD individual would make an excellent tour manager with great people skills. You got to get along with everybody. I've had promoters tell me they had so-and-so come in here and their tour manager was awful and their crew was awful. You don't want to be that. Mm-hmm. You want to be the guy that when you leave, you're still friends with that promoter. You're still talking to them. Everybody had a great time. Everybody made money and everybody moved on.
A mutually beneficial relationship.
Absolutely. That's what we're all out here to do.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, we have so much enjoyed chatting with you today. Is there any last bit of advice you would like to leave with students?
Yeah. If music is in your soul, if it's your passion, and hey, I'm not a player. I don't play anything. You don't have to be in the entertainment business, to be in the music business. If it's your passion, chase it, get it. It's out there, grab it. And you can, anybody can. I've got people from all walks that have been on local cruise at the venues. If you Can't get in a touring gig, but I know people from all over that are on those buses that are climbing out at every town, and it's their dream. It's what they do. Whether they run video, whether they're, a spot op, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If music is your passion, it's what you love, it's what makes you happy, get after it.
Such good advice. Well, Chuck, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for sharing your words of wisdom. For everyone that tuned in, be sure and check back every single week. We have a new industry professional from the sports and entertainment industry. You can learn about so many more careers. We will see you next time.